All right, good evening. The time is now 5:30. We'll call this July 25th County Council meeting to order. First, we'll begin with the invocation by Vice Chairman Carroll, followed by the pledge of allegiance.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your rich and many blessings you've given us, for your grace and for your mercy. We ask that you be with us here tonight as we conduct the business of Lawrence County. That the things that we do, the things that we discuss, be pleasing in your sight and what's best for the upbuilding of your kingdom here. In your name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have approval of the agenda. Motion to approve the agenda. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Frank, second by Ms. Clark. Are there any additions or deletions to the minutes? Are there any additions or deletions to the minutes or to the agenda? Here now I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Next up is the approval of the minutes from July 11th. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Motion approved. Motion by Mr. Carroll. Second by Mr. Youngs. Are there any additions or deletions to the minutes? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. All right, next we have public comments. We got two folks signed up this evening. Up first, Jay Wiesner, third.
How's everybody doing? Good. Good evening, council members. For the ones that don't know me, I'm Jay Wiesner III, better known as Little Jay. On behalf of the Wiesner family, I would like to thank all of you for recognition in the moment of silence in honor of my papa at the meeting a few weeks ago. I know how rocky and troubling it has been between the council and my papa in the past. Your actions were appreciated. My papa was very passionate about the council that he served as well as our county. Just thank you all again for the kind words and honor him.
Okay, thank you for coming tonight. And again, I'd like personally express my condolences to you and your family. Jay, he was a beacon to us all. We appreciate it, believe it or not. So thank you for everything coming tonight. Say that we appreciate it. That's very thank you. Thank you. All right. Next, Dr. Reverend Evans. Tell you what, next up, the reports of council, and we got something there. If she comes back in, we'll recognize her at that time. Before I go, Mr. Higgs, do you have anything for administration? Mr. Chairman. All right. Well, Mr. Satterfield, you mind, Mr. David Satterfield, I have two. You mind joining me up front? All right, well, we given the news a few weeks ago that Mr. Satterfield, as of 24th, I'm not sure I got that right, August 24th, will be retiring from the county. Mr. Satterfield joined the county in 1996 as a mobile home inspector under building codes. I guess he liked us enough that in 99 he moved over as an appraiser in the assessor's office before being promoted to the actual deputy assessor in 99, and I'm sorry, in 2004. And then in 2010, and since 2010, he's been proudly serving us for Lawrence County. During that time, I'm sure you've seen many reassessments. I've seen a lot of things come and go, a lot of changes, and we're blessed for your leadership through those times. And we'll be sad to see you go, but hope you get to enjoy some retirement, enjoy your family, and spend time with them. And don't forget about us. Make sure you still at least come back and pay your taxes, at the end of the year. But this resolution, I'll be honest, it reads exactly what I just mentioned to you. But we want to thank you for your tireless effort for this county for your 27 years. And we want to recognize and congratulate you this evening. And you see this has been signed by all of council and it's very small, but we have a parting gift for you. That's your retirement clock. It says David E. Satterfield, thank you for your 27 years of service with Lawrence County in 1996 to 2003.
I appreciate it.
My recommendation, take the battery out of that. Time clock. Council member, desire to use the microphone, please feel free.
I would just like to thank you, Mr. Satterfield. Don't try to together now. But I didn't realize it was gonna be that fast. I just wanted to thank you for your service, and I've been seeing you for a long time here and there and around, so, and I know you've been a good employee to the county, you've been a good ambassador for the citizens of this county, and I know you hate when every time it comes time for us to be evaluated too, because I know you get a lot of static, and you have a even tone of voice that is cooling and calming, and everything get done. So we just want to thank you. I just want to personally thank you for what you have done for the county, and I wish you luck. I heard Brown tell you can take the battery out. You can leave the battery in, just wake up anytime you want to. It's your time. It's your time, so enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else? I want to thank you again, and I see Mr. Daly with you here. I hope he's been a good deputy for you, and after you leave, you can tell us what you really think about him.
Oh, in good shape. Keep they still in there. It's in good shape. Good young cat in there as well.
Awesome. But thank y'all so much for all y'all do in that department. Couldn't do it without you. It takes a bunch of pieces of God to make a wheel turn. So thank you all for all you do. And just to solidify for the actual minutes, I'm gonna make a motion. The council approved the resolution recognizing Mr. David E. Satterfield for 27 years of service to Lawrence County. Second by Ms. Anderson. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Ms. Satterfield, thank you.
Thank you.
Now you can run for good times. Ms. Evans. All right, next up, old business, any council or board submissions this evening? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to letter B, second reading of ordinance 945, Project Zebra. That's the project we approved, first reading on at the last meeting. Which asked Mr. Coleman, has there been any changes or any updates on this particular project?
Mr. Chairman, first of all, I apologize for my time, my 9-year-old. No changes. The only thing is third reading has been pushed back a little bit due to some approvals by the state. Do third reading, so it might be September.
All right.
But other than that, I think
We'll wait on, got the county attorney for public hearing and third reading. Do I have a motion to approve second reading of ordinance 945, Project Zebra?
Motion to approve second reading ordinance 945.
Motion by Mr. Rankin. Second by Mr. Carroll. Is there any discussion? As always, we're thankful for your department. I'm looking forward to third reading on this one. It's a big deal for Lawrence County. All right, up next in new business, I'm gonna call Mr. Howard.
You gotta vote.
Oh, I'm so sorry. All those in favor of Project Zebra, people, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Thanks. All right, before we move to new business, Reverend Evans had to step out, but I want to recognize her now for her public comments. Before we start. Yes, ma'am.
And I do apologize, I've been running since 6:30 this morning, I'm gonna have to leave here early to get back to people that will revive.
No worries.
I shall be praying for you, the county council, chairman, and the county council. I admire the work that you do, and I realize that you work for all of the citizens of Lawrence County. Unfortunately, the situation with the bridges have become an embarrassment for Lawrence County. With the word that I received at the County Transportation Committee made the statement that they are not going to these bridges. With the situation that we're in, and for further trouble down the road, I am asking the county council to appeal to those powers that be that appoint the county transportation committee, to dissolve that committee, allow the county council to take over taking care of the bridges and the roads. For this reason, for the fact that they have stated, if this is true, they're not going to do bridges. They have violated the mandate or the position for which they put in place in the first place. Can't do one without doing the other. Then on the other hand, our taxpayers are not receiving the full benefit of the taxes that they are paying. We are paying the extra gas tax. We are paying extra taxes in the Lawrence County. And for bridges, for 10 bridges to be closed in our county, some of them for 4 years, is too long, is an insult to those taxpayers. You have them, especially with the cost of gas creeping up, you got them spending more money on gas. You got them spending more money on postage. And with the time that it takes for EMS, fire people to get to these homes, you are endangering lives. I'd also like to suggest that when I County Transportation Committee is no longer, that you allow my friend, I can't think of his name, Mr. Billy Wilson, place him in charge. Because I think he knows what he's doing, but he can't do the job by himself. And trust me, this is not a personal vendetta for me, because these bridges don't directly affect me. They affect the people who come to me and say, go to county council and see if you can get us some help. I get wherever I need to go. Like right now, I'm gonna have to pray and make it back to the gas pump, because I ain't got gas. But in any case, that is what I'm answering. And I will be a voice that will cry out. I've already gone on the radio, I've already discussed it, hopefully with the community. I'm asking the community to call our representatives to do what I'm asking you to do. Be bold enough and brave enough to say, you're not doing your job. Return the responsibility of road, bridge replacement and maintenance to county council. And I thank you. And we shall be praying for y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Evans, and we have continued, the only update I have from the last time I gave an update. I can attest to this, we've had some spirited discussions with the delegation and the chairman of the CTC about our position and our desires as county council for CTC funds in our county. The last conversation, you requested from the chairman that he asked his board, or his commission rather, that they consider naming a percentage for Lawrence County roads, because they have the percentage for state roads, which is 33 minimum. They can go over that, which they do. We've asked them to set a minimum as well for the county, and we requested a large one. We'll see where they come in at, if they do anything at all. That will allow Billy internally to budget, knowing what's coming from the CTC. Then we can look at adding other county tax funds to that to be able to accomplish some of these issues that we have. But we are diligently working on it. And I think Ms. Frank has been very involved as well with this process. But you're on the right track, and we appreciate you speaking out and working with the community on this effort.
Don't you think that it does say something that out of all the counties we have in South Carolina, Lawrence County is one of only 3 that continues to have a county transportation committee? That says something. The county council in the other areas are in charge of the roads and bridges.
Thank you.
Y'all have a mighty fine day. I really
Thanks, sir.
put y'all back. I'm back later.
Okay. All righty, we will get back into new business. I'll call on Mr. Howard. Bobby, if you need to join him, or we thank you for being here. We thank you for serving on the tax committee. And I appreciate you volunteering for that.
Thank you, council, and definitely thank you, Mr. Howard. He is always willing to serve on the accommodations tax committee. You shall is the chairman. He served that role very well. I come tonight to request your approval and the designation of these funds. They have already gone through the accommodations tax committee and Parks and Recreation committee for approval. For their recommendations, and over to you tonight for your approval. As you can see in the read ahead information that you have, all the applications and the applicants request was set, the application was set at $4,000 because we have to go with an estimation of what we receive. And not knowing how many applicants we will receive, we don't really know. But we receive less applications. We receive more money, so the recommendation was to give out more money than what the application allowed. And so that's why you see the amount requested is lower than what was actually recommended by the ATAX committee. And the Parks and Recreation committee also agreed with that with a caveat for Cross Hill. So if you would like to ask questions on any of these applications, we have some new ones. We have some, majority of our old applications, some, tremendous programs, tremendous festivals, different things. We actually have one today, that the PAIA, Councilwoman Anderson was there, Thomas Higgs was there as well, and so very good program to see, and it's a wonderful use of these dollars. It actually brings tourism into Orange County, and it really makes a difference. And it's evident when you see the gain of the accommodations tax collected in Orange County. So it's definitely a good use of these funds. It follows the state law, and if you have questions, see the notes that we have here, the recommendations from accommodations tax and Parks and Recreation.
All right, I wanna, I hope everybody read the notes on the Cross Hill issue due to a death, amongst the application deadline. Cross Hill, who has been given regularly, ATAX funds over the past several years, did not make it, and that's, in my opinion, a special circumstance. And in a minute, we're going to discuss adding them back in, and we'll discuss how we're going to do that money here in just a minute. But what I'd like to do is open the floor if there's any questions about the organizations who have applied. So there's plenty here in a second, but if there's any questions on the organizations, I'll let any council member ask that.
Danny, how did you guys come to the conclusion to award the remaining funds to the Revolutionary War II?
We based that decision on the impact that we believe that it will have on Lawrence County. Assessor Centennial is going to be a very large impact in Lawrence County based on our historical significance for the Revolutionary Battle. We believe that their management has been very well. The use of funds that we've given them so far in the past has been very well utilized. And we believe that they're moving in the right direction to have a really big impact when that comes. So we think a continued investment in that is those funds. And so we think that investing, even though it's not here right now, but I think that myself and the committees both think that investing any additional funds that we can into that is going to have a huge impact of tourism in Lawrence County. And that goes.
Thank you, and I completely agree, and that's what I've seen you answer. So I'm very excited about that. I've been engaged with the committee, and they are doing tremendous work.
Absolutely.
So 2026 will be here before we know it.
Absolutely.
Board society. That's the new
The Board Society is actually their third year. It's actually right down the way, right down the road from the PAIA, Ghost Creek Gourds. They attract around 400 to 500 people to their gourd festival every year. They come from as far away as California, Pennsylvania. And it's a craft thing. If you go on, I was not a believer at the beginning, but I went to the festival and people pay as much as $2,000 for some of these gourds. And they come to Lawrence County because Ghost Creek Gourds is one of the largest producers of gourds. So it's really a big event. And you really wouldn't believe some of the things that they make out of these gourds. If you've ever been to Disney World and the hot summer months and wonder why you haven't been eaten up by mosquitoes, it's because those purple martin gourds are hanging sometimes discreetly, sometimes very pronounced. Purple martins live in gourds, and they hang those gourds all over Disney World, and they eat tons and tons of mosquitoes. Again, stuff that I learned at this gourd festival. So it's a very unique thing, very niche, but niche things brings lots of people into one area. And that's what we want. And they use those funds advertising outside of Lawrence County. If you advertise within Lawrence County, that doesn't bring people in. And you want people that are going to advertise outside of Lawrence County, and that's what these people do. And that's what we push for. We want people advertising outside of Lawrence County.
Yeah, I'm appreciative for looking at Cross Hill area because I know they are always, I know they had some issues over there.
It was very, it's a tough situation that they're in, but we don't wanna hold it against them. They had, tragedy over there. I mean, the Cross Hill Festival, coming home to Cross Hill Festival is a big event, and a lot of people come home to Cross Hill at that time of the year, and $5,000 doesn't seem like a lot, but it really goes a long way in putting that festival on. And they reached out to me after our accommodations tax, and they they just happened to miss it. I mean, but there's a lot of stuff going on up there. Miss Anita Moore just come back on, and she would be the one to fill that application out after the fact. But obviously, if Miss Reed couldn't have done it, obviously because she passed away, and the mayors and NHC, it's a hard situation. So there's latitude in some situations.
Anybody else have any questions on the organizations? I'm gonna make a recommendation on the funding. The amount applied for all of them, but one was 4,000, and then one of those was 3,000, as we'll see. And then the ATAX committee recommended bumping that up $1,000 each, which was approved by the Parks Committee with the addition of Cross Hill. But obviously, there's only a finite amount of dollars, which is $72,447. So my recommendation is we go back to the original requested amount. We add $600 to each one instead of $1,000, as well as add Cross Hill at $4,600. That will leave a balance of $4,447, which can still go to the 250th Religion of War Committee. That's my recommendation to council. And it's not a slide, we're not correcting the problem with ATAX or anything, but that's to make the numbers work and come in under budget. That's one of the fairest ways, in my opinion, to do it. But I'll take opinions to council or even a motion if somebody's ready to make one.
I thought they probably had some leftovers, but they had. Don't have.
We didn't have anything left over. We spend the money.
I know you do, but I was just.
And that's a perfect.
It was a suggestion for discussion.
I move the mayor's motion.
I'm changing my title. You going back about 30 years, aren't you?
Giving you a promotion.
I'll second it.
Chairman's motion.
Just to make sure we put on the motion that we're going to add $600 to the amount requested from the 14 organizations. We will add Cross Hill to the list at a $4,600 disbursement and allocate the remaining balance of $4,447 to the Revolutionary War Committee.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask that you include in that motion that they go back and retroactively fill out an application? just for our-
Pending an application submitted by Crossville. All right, now we'll take that motion from Mr. Krill, seconded by Mr. Carroll. Is there any more discussion? Here now, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. And please thank your park committee and the rest of the state tax committee for their work and doing this. We appreciate it.
Thank
you. All right, will you stay up there? 'Cause I think we got you. For discussion on conservation bank application.
Now, the next opportunity we have is it's an excellent opportunity. This has been going on for about a year. This was actually maybe a little longer. This opportunity arose back actually when Don Caney was here. The Nature Conservancy is an organization that buys large parcels of property. The reasoning is to conserve property. So it doesn't get developed. And they purchased around 3,000 acres in the Joanna area. So that 3,000 acres was designated to be conserved. Now, when they purchase this property, their goal is not to just buy the property and hold on to it. They want to put it to use and put it to use in recreational use or just plain conservation or forestry, things like that. Well, they reached out to different agencies. They reached out to us, the Parks and Recreation Department. They reached out to Sumter National Forest, and they reached out to Upstate Forever. They said, if you could do anything in this area, what would you do? My first thought was equestrian trail, because it's very close to the Palmetto Trail. And there's an equestrian trail on the Palmetto Trail, but it's short. One thing we lack in Lawrence County is equestrian usable areas. And even the Palmetto Trail is very short in its equestrian use. So that would be the best use of this property because it's a large tract of land. Sumter National Forest is also open to using that property that they would be getting from this tract of land as well, as equestrian use. So what this would actually end up doing would be dividing that 3,000 acres into large tracts of land, with the county getting a portion of about 330 acres. The Sumter National Forest getting a portion of about 2,200 acres, and Upstate Forever getting about 70 acres. And that would allow us to create a trail that would go from the Palmetto Trail and eventually working its way down into Joanna and creating a trail that would be substantial. And then on that 300 acres, we would create a park and equestrian trails on that park, which would make Joanna a destination because people would come to ride horses on 300 acres of property. That is a very low maintenance recreational opportunity. It doesn't take a lot of work to build those trails, so it's not a large investment in it. And it's property that's worth well over $1 million that we could possibly get for about $200,000. That would come from grants that we would get through Conservation Bank. That would be grants that we get through Nature Conservancy, and possibly we would get even more and not even have to come up with the $200,000. So we would be getting $1 million worth of property for probably nothing in the end. Can't guarantee that, but the forest on the property alone is worth more than that. So you could even forest the trees and get more than what you would be buying the property. It's a no-brainer in my opinion. But it's parkland. And as much as we talk about now with the development in Lawrence County and how we need to conserve our natural resources, this is a win for Lawrence County as far as conserving our natural resources. We're offsetting all the subdivisions in the northern side of the county by preserving the natural resources in the lower side of the county. I'm asking for council to give Thomas the ability to move forward on a non-binding agreement to see if we can go to the conservation bank and even get this grant. If we can't get the grant, we just don't do it. But if we do get the grant, we move forward and possibly get more money. But in the end, our only loss is $200,000. And that's only if we get the property. If we do get the property, we may be out $200,000, but we're in 330 more acres of parkland and conserved property. So I think it's a win-win. That's what I'm asking for. I think it's a wonderful opportunity. But ultimately, the decision is yours. I know I ask for a lot, but I don't ask for things that don't matter, and this matters.
All right. First, Andy, thanks for putting this together, and you heard about it out on the street and brought it to us for consideration. I'd like to open the floor at this time for council to ask any questions they may have on this project.
Have you talked with the people at the Association of Counties? Now, they have a conservation department where they have worked with some of the people already who are looking for the land. Have you talked with them?
Let me answer that. We would need to enter into a non-binding agreement that doesn't bind us monetarily. And what this does is allow Andy to continue forward with pursuing, gaining the property. When we realize that that is a possibility, that will then give Andy and myself, as well as you as council members, the ability to go to the association of counties, donors and other resources that we have, like the conservation bank, to say, hey, we have this opportunity. However, we need your support. But until we realize that it's actually an attainable option for us, it doesn't make a lot of sense to approach them now until we enter that agreement and work with the parties to determine if it's viable.
And you all do all the research work, you're gonna bring it back to council so we can decide whether we want to go into an agreement. on
Yes,
that.
ma'am. Andy and myself will give updates. Once we enter that non-binding agreement, we'll proceed forward and figure out first if it's a viable option. If it is, then Andy and I will report at that time, and then we will continue to go out and see what kind of financial commitments we can get from other organizations and bring that to you. So basically what Andy just said, worst case scenario, it'll be a match of $200,000. However, Andy and I are, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he and I are willing to get to work on this and go all around the state and do what we have to do to minimize that financial impact to this county and the taxpayers to allow us to gain that property.
And there's another piece of land down there that some guy bought, that's the 250th anniversary. Is that close to the property that he purchased?
No, ma'am, it's not near Durant Ash One's property.
I really don't know exactly where it is, but I know he had purchased some.
That's more towards.
Thank you.
We just go, will this tie this 330 acres into all these other parcels?
Yes,
So we'd have access to that.
yes, sir.
And if I read it right, county will own the land,
Yes, sir.
and it will, I read something about the timber resource, that will be revenue for the county.
Yes, sir.
And as far as, I may be putting a cart in front of the horse, but give thoughts of maybe a campground.
If that was something that, if it worked, if that was something the county wanted to go into, you could actually put a campground there, but, in my conservation mind, I would like to see it thin and not completely harvested. I would like to see it sustainably forested, not clear cut, and follow the forestry practices, that make sense. But I think that obviously it's a wonderful piece of land. I walked it, I've looked it over. You could actually forest it now. The
Like selective cut.
selective cutting would be the way to forest it, I think.
I know you're gonna probably catch some heat from this. Hiking, horseback riding, that's good. What you gonna do when somebody wants to come there and start hunting?
I say no hunting. We don't allow hunting on any park property at all.
Yeah.
And that's my ordinance.
Yeah, I like hunting as much as anybody, but hikers and horseback riding hunters, that's a bad.
That's right.
I like it.
That actually isn't the question I got written down. Is any of the property around it WMA land?
The national forest, they do allow hunting. However, that was a question that I asked Sumter National Forest folks. And typically they don't allow horseback riding on Sumter National Forest in a lot of places because of WMA. But they have agreed that if we do horseback riding, they would section that section off, so there would not be hunting where there's horseback trails. And that's what they do in other places where there are horseback trails, and that's why there's so few horseback trails in the national forest, because a lot of it is WMA and hunting lands.
It seems to be three parties involved, Upstate Forever, the Sumter National Forest, and Lawrence County in 3 parcels. If we don't act on that parcel, are the other parcels automatically gonna happen?
They're already moving forward.
Okay,
And their properties are already selected. They really want us to be a part of this as well. And the reason why is because it directly correlates with Lawrence County. They want to be part of Lawrence County. The Nature Conservancy does. And the Nature Conservancy is not new to Lawrence. If you're familiar with Highway 560 and the Belfast location, typically they buy property and they sell it to large agencies like DNR. And when they buy property, they sell it to large agencies like that because they can come up with the funding a lot quicker than an agency like we can. For one, you got bigger pockets, the state can come up with the money a whole lot quicker than we can. But they really work hard. They are really working hard to try to help us come up with funding to pay for this month, to pay for this piece of property. Because they want to see Joanna become a destination like we want it to.
Some parks won't get horses on hiking trails. That may be something they can do. Just because the horse will tear it up. Well, I'm all for it, just a whole lot of variables in here. Be more out. Some full circle.
Well, my goal is to make this an equestrian park. I want this to be an equestrian park. Because there's a lack of that. You know, really in the upstate, there's a lack of an equestrian parks in the upstate of South Carolina. And people will travel to ride their horses. And there's just not a place around here to do it. I noticed that when we were at Palmetto Trail, people will drive to ride at, on the Palmetto Trail, even though it's a short ride. It's just, that's what people want to do. And that's what you got to do as a Parks and Rec director. You got to see what people want to do. And that's what people want to do. I mean, people with 5 acres will buy a horse. And you can't ride a horse on 5 acres, but they will carry their horse to ride on 300 acres. People have ATVs and live in the city, but they'll drive out to Barrel Stage and ride on the ATV trails. I don't do that, but I don't have a horse either, but there are a lot of people that do, you know, so you provide places for people to do that and they'll come.
That may be another issue too. The ATVers come out there and want to ride. That's not gonna mix up for horses, hikers either.
That's right, and you have to not allow those other type of trail use. You have to only allow equestrian trail.
All right, so I know you put on the submission request sheet, the funding requested, but you don't need that money today.
No, we
Today,
don't.
you don't have approval to pursue this, and you're gonna come back to us with a hard figure. That being said, we need to be cognizant as we allow you to pursue this, that we may
We,
have that figure coming back.
we just need that non-binding agreement so we can pursue it and actually go to the conservation bank and see if we can even get the rest of the money before we even need matters.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make that motion.
All right,
I'll make the motion that the county enter into a non-binding agreement to see what we can secure the property for with the outline that you put forward. And while I've got the microphone on, Andy, you know, you're a pretty cool guy, you know, you're appearing before this council with done deals and finished projects and stuff like that, and it's a good thing to do. That's right. You do, and you succeed. It's one thing to try, it's another thing to succeed, when you do both. I appreciate that. Motion stands, Mr. Chairman.
and you're authorizing the county administrator to execute that. All right, we have a motion from Mr. Trimble to allow the county to enter into a non-binding agreement to grant from the South Carolina Conservation Bank. Second by Mr. Rankin. Is there any further discussion? The only thing I'd ask is y'all do this and come back to us when it's time for the funding, and I hope you're very successful in finding other avenues to reduce that figure. That you also at that time, potentially, you started here, but maybe bring us a idea at least of what it may look like for that first phase of the park, which we're gonna need. Picnic shelters, maybe some electricity, maybe some bathrooms, you know, whatever you may be thinking for that first phase monetarily.
So I can feel that.
I know you can, but if you can bring that figure as well with that initial investment, so that we kind of have an idea of what the whole picture, at least for the beginning, will be looking. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0.
Thank you, council.
Thank you. That's all we have for tonight. It's a privilege to see Director Lynn West in the audience. Can you hear me call her out? There she is. Do you mind giving us a quick report on, or maybe an update on how the school board election is going, and then maybe also tell us a little bit about what you did earlier today?
I'd be happy to. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Hicks. He came to say hello to several counties that we had today. We had 7 different counties in attendance here. There was supposed to be training. We have some new software that were being provided by the state. But instead, they were just oohing and awing and wanting blueprints of our office here. Those of you that have been in the back, I always brag that we were allowed to be in meetings with the architect and with council and all the other county say, gosh, you know, they just build stuff and put us in it, and we have no input. We actually had people taking photos of a crayon drawing that Neely and I did of our wish list. Gave it to Mr. Satterfield over there and pretty much made it happen. And so it wasn't really a joke, but just I blew it up as big as he blew it up for me, as big as we could, and we got it framed. And literally, these people were taking photos of it. So I want to thank you again. It made a huge impression on my friends. And we did get a little bit of learning done as well.
Yes.
Mr. Hicks came and spoke and welcomed them. And again, they were all saying, our county director would never do that. Oh my goodness. They were just, it made me really proud to be at this county. And it's all because of how much help he's given us. We appreciate it. We're conducting school board elections now. It's a little bit unusual in that we're actually conducting 2 separate elections on the same day. I'm only telling you that to say that we have results which will be separated. We are conducting early voting, and so far we have about 60-something votes for seat 7 and a combined total of 30-something votes for seats 1 and 3. So I feel like the turnout is a little bit low. I sort of be prepared and expected a little bit higher turnout. And hopefully it'll be made up on election day, which is Tuesday. So, thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Chair.
so much, and glad to get to show off your facility.
Thank you, Sue.
This county's proud of this facility, and we're blessed to have you and your staff and your volunteers that operate it. Thank you. We do have a matter on executive session, human resource matter, assessment of public works. I do have a motion to enter into executive session.
Motion.
Motion on Mr. Carroll. Second on Mr. Rankin. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0, time of 6:15. We will enter into executive session at 6:20.
Yeah.
All right, time is now 6:41. I will call county council back into open session. County council in executive session to discuss appointment matter related to the discussion of public works. No action was taken in executive session, but I will for now. There are any motions to be made?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we authorize the county administrator to handle two personnel matters according to established county laws.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Triple and a second by Mr. Carey. Is there any discussion? And then I'll call the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. All right. Are there any other motions that need to be made? There are none. We'll move on to county council comments. All right, Ms. Clark.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to iterate that say that I enjoyed my tour at the State House on last Monday. See some places in the basement that I've never been. We enjoyed that, and I think given for the opportunity to invite us down. Didn't go, it was really a treat. We really enjoyed ourselves there as well. And also the groundbreaking of the new library, enjoyed being out there. It was very hot, but very proud and all of yourself and ourselves that put the work and effort in on that. So that was something very exciting to see and do on that. And just continue to pray as the school kid and staff go back for our district. All over that go back next week. So keep the children in prayer that we'll have a great year this year with the school district around the world. That'll be all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clark.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight. Just want to encourage everyone to get out and vote. If you live at seats 1, 3, and 7 for school board, anytime we get a chance to exercise the right to vote, I definitely encourage you to do that. Lynn West is gone, but appreciate all the hard work that she's been doing in her department to make sure that our elections are being run smoothly. And then also just wanted to make our citizens aware that we will be down in the Low Country next week for a conference for the South Carolina Association of Counties. Looking forward to meet some other county council members and other county officials across the state there and learn something as well. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Kerr.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Sanders.
This afternoon, this morning at 11:30, a group of us, we went over to the ribbon cutting for the PAIA. We gave them some funds in the opera. We had that fund and they were so appreciative. I'm glad I had an opportunity to go and participate. It was a good outing. But there was 2 other things that was there that was very nice. We had 2 people, one person who was there from 6 miles, and we had a couple that was there from Tennessee. And it just show you how people are supportive of each other when the need is there. They was just gracious that they were able to get money, and you can see how they had used the funds that we had given them. Also, I think 2 weeks ago, I went out to Camp Fellowship, and Camp Fellowship also received some opera fund, and I could see the work that they were doing, and they was having camps for young people. I tend to love young people. They are our future for the coming years, and they got a lot to offer. So we just have to bring all of it out of them. So I had an opportunity to be there. Also got a chance to see an old employee that was out on the lake. Joey Matters. Yeah, he was out, he and his wife, and I got to see some other people from Lawrence that I hadn't seen in a while. So I had a great time there until the thunderstorm came up last Saturday. You know, they had one of those too. So, but everything went really well and I'm just appreciative just to see how much people appreciate you giving something back. And I think that's what makes the world go round. If you give something back, somebody else gonna give something to someone else. And as long as we helping each other, we're gonna make it through. Sometimes I wonder, but I think we got it.
Wonderful. Mr. Carroll. Yep. All right, well, I just have a few things. Nobody is still here because I'm gonna have to call in a second. Sorry to mention, but the library groundbreaking was an exciting moment. They announced they've been in a temporary facility for going on 30 years. The shopping center, so it is grand that we're finally breaking ground on a standalone brick and mortar that will bring the Clinton residents, hopefully a beautiful library, beautiful lab. And I just want to congratulate Ms. Barksdale and thank her for all her leadership through this process. She kind of came in the middle of it, and she has taken it and ran with it. And your speech last week was inspiring. It was bragging all over Thomas how well you did, and I'm excited to call you our library director. You were motivated. I hope the kids are as motivated by you as I was the other day, and please keep up the good work. Thank you for all you do for children and all citizens of the county. And talking about groundbreakings, we got one coming up next month. Andy, it's on the second Saturday, which is on August 10th. August 12th at 10. There we go. So August 12th at 10 a.m. We will be breaking ground on the agricultural center. It was approved in the California sales tax at the old Exchange Club over there near Ingles behind the new Dominic car lot. So please put that on your calendars, August 12th at 10 a.m. We'll be breaking ground that day, and that is the largest standalone project on the California sales tax. And it's great to finally get some dirt moving.
Might be moving a little dirt beforehand, but
That's all right. Well, it's gonna take a while to move the dirt, so they're early. But we got plenty of other projects on that list that are coming to fruition. There'll be some ribbon cuttings coming up, some more groundbreakings, and it's great to see not just those that pay their property taxes contributing to these endeavors. I'm looking forward to seeing those. Also want to remind everyone, beginning next month, our meeting schedule changes. The second Monday at 6 p.m. So we have a time change and a day change. So August 14th, Monday at 6 p.m. will be the next regularly scheduled county council meeting. I believe that is all I have. There's still a little daylight outside. Those that need to do some yard work. With that, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Ms. Rankin,
Second.
second by Ms. Clark. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Thank y'all.